I've been building my own kingdom for everyone to see. It exists to keep me safe from harm, and it's intact to glorify me. Nobody helped me build this up. It was me and me alone. I've appointed myself as the king, and I've given myself the throne. But it turns out I'm no ruler, and I have no control. So I have decided to destroy it all. I'm tearing down the walls, kicking down the doors. Everything inside this kingdom is yours. 'Cause what I've made is worthless, and it cannot stand. Come and breathe some life into my empty, cold, dead end. Down with the fickle king, away with this fantasy. You are the one I need. Death to the kingdom of me. Death to the kingdom of me. I should probably be frightened. This empire's all I know, but it always does more damage than good. I'm afraid it's gotta go. I know that I can't be trusted, 'cause I'm just a man. And if you hadn't given your life for me, a loser would be all that I am. You know they say just follow your heart. I'm afraid that's a load of trash. Your heart will take you down to deep, dark places where you feel like you'll never come back. So I'm coming out of the dark. This facade is I woke up feeling like it was time to tighten up. Yeah, I woke up feeling like it might be a good day to get it done. That's right. Oh, the stadium is just like my second house. Now I'm two-tone talking, they can't shut my mouth. I woke up feeling like it was time to tighten up. Yeah, 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 yeah. I woke up feeling like it was time to tighten up.
Episode 159 of the Two Tone Talk by God Pod, coming at you live today. 10 days away, folks. 10 days away from the 2025 NFL Draft. And as the title of the episode says, 1 week away from the future beginning for the Tennessee Titans. First of all, welcome to the episode. Second of all, I mean, from where I sit, from what I am observing when it comes to the media, both nationally and locally, ESPN, NFL Network, radio, whatever, it sure seems like a foregone conclusion at this point. And like I've said in the past, I won't be 100% sure that Cam Ward is going to be the pick until Roger Goodell goes up to the podium and says it. But over the last week especially, I'm not really hearing anybody talking about the Titans trading back. Haven't heard anything about it. I'm not hearing anything about the Titans, taking Abdul Carter. I haven't heard Abdul Carter's name attached to the Titans in about a month. Travis Hunter, Shador. There's no more rumors. Like, there's no more, the Titans are keeping the door open. We're not hearing that anymore. And so for all intents and purposes, it looks like on April 24th, the Titans are taking Cam Ward with the first pick in the draft. And that's why I say the future is now. It has to be. Now I want to talk to the fans. Because every day I get on YouTube, I get on social media. Go follow me on X, twotone_podcast. And I see people who insist that this is a stupid move by the Titans to draft Cam Ward with the first overall pick. And everybody's entitled to their own opinions, but there's a number of reasons why. And I want to, first of all, talk about the people, the people who say, well, we shouldn't take Cam Ward because the Titans have never been good at drafting and developing quarterbacks, so why waste the first pick in the draft on a quarterback when we're not going to know what to do with him anyway? That's the first group of people I want to talk to today. If that's how you think, why do you even watch the games? Why even watch? Why even bother being a fan? If the mentality is, well, it didn't work out with Locker, it didn't work out with Mariota, it didn't work out with Vince Young, it didn't work out with Malik Willis, it didn't work out with Will Levis. All of these quarterbacks that we've drafted have turned out to be not the answer. So why would we bother drafting Cam Ward when we clearly don't know how to draft and develop a quarterback? Here's the thing, guys. How could you possibly even live your life with that mentality? Like, I don't even know how you get up and function every day if your mentality is, okay, because it hasn't worked out before, that means it will never work out. You can't live like that. And you sure can't run a football team like that. So what do you want the Titans to do? Just never take anybody? Never try to draft and develop a quarterback? I mean, because that's pretty necessary. That's really the most important thing that a football team and an organization could do is draft a franchise quarterback and develop them into being a superstar. That's a must. If you're going to reach the goals that hopefully every team has, which is to win a championship, you've got to draft and develop a quarterback to at least be really good, to at least be Jalen Hurts, even if they're not Mahomes, even if they're not Josh Allen, even if they're not Lamar Jackson. If they can at least be Jalen Hurts, you can get where you need to go. That should be the goal of every team. And so if your mentality is, we shouldn't even bother because we can't do it, we can't draft and develop a quarterback, then why even bother buying the merchandise, buying the jerseys, buying the hats, putting the decorations on the wall? Why even bother rushing home to watch the games? Why even bother planning to watch the games? Why waste that 3 hours on a Sunday? Just because it's never worked out before, you gotta keep going. No, you got to keep going. If you keep swinging and missing, do you just stop swinging? No, you keep swinging until you get a hold of one, until you draft the right guy. And lest we forget, like, just because the Titans weren't good at developing Vince Young 18 years ago or whatever, that has no bearing on today. Just because the Titans couldn't figure out what to do with Jake Locker 12 years ago does not mean, just because they couldn't figure out what to do with Will Levis last year, or 2 years ago. That has no bearing on Cam Ward. And I also find it funny that people will say that the same people who say, well, we shouldn't draft Cam Ward because we're not going to know what to do with him anyway. Those same people promote getting a quarterback next year. Those same people want to go draft Arch Manning, or they want to draft Drew Aller next year. Do you understand? Like, so you think we will be able to draft and develop those guys? If that logic is what you're using this year, that you shouldn't draft Cam because we're not going to know what to do with him anyway. Okay, so you want to draft quarterback next year? What about the next year? What about the next year? Like, at what point are you going to want to pull the trigger on a quarterback? You know, I hear people all the time, and I'm covering a lot of topics here, but people who say, well, this quarterback class is not strong. This quarterback class is not strong, and so the Titans shouldn't waste their pick on it. Okay. In a way, yes, this quarterback class is not strong. This quarterback class is not last year where you had Caleb Williams and Drake May and Jaden Daniels and all of those guys. No, it's not last year. But we're not talking about the class. We're talking about one guy. We're talking about Cam Ward. I'm not talking about any of those other guys. Okay? We're talking about the one guy at the top. And I believe that Cam Ward would be a first-round talent in any class. That may not apply to Shedeur. You may not think that applies to Shedeur or any other quarterback in this class. But when it comes to that one guy, Cam Ward, do I believe he would have been drafted ahead of Caleb? Do I believe he would have been drafted ahead of Jaden Daniels or Drake May? No. But I do believe you could make the case that he could have been the fourth best quarterback in the draft last year. I think he still would have been a top 10 pick last year. I'll just go ahead and say, I think there is a very real chance that if Cam Ward had been in last year's draft, he's with the same, you know, say the season he had this year, you push it back a year, and he had that season last year going into last year's draft. I still think Cam Ward would have been a top 10 pick. So this idea that the Titans are somehow settling for Cam Ward because they're taking him in a quarterback class, or presumably taking him in a quarterback class that's not very strong, just because the quarterback class is not very strong, that does not mean that the guy at the top isn't. If the Titans are picking Cam Ward, I would say he is the one quarterback in this draft that would be a top tier quarterback talent in just about any draft. And you don't have to take my word for it. Take Mel Kiper's word for it. Take any of these guys that cover the draft for a living. Mel Kiper said it himself. He said Cam Ward would be an elite first-round talent any year, and taking him first overall is not a reach at all. It's not a reach. And I understand sometimes fans just want to be pessimistic just to be pessimistic, but here's the thing. When you talk about it, I've already got people in the comments talking about this. I hear it all the time. Sometimes from analysts, usually from fans. Well, the Titans have more needs than just quarterback. Just getting a quarterback's not going to fix everything. Okay, first of all, would you have made that case for Washington last year? Was Washington a quarterback away last year? Most people would have said absolutely not. Most people would have said drafting Jaden Daniels is not going to fix the Washington Commanders. Well, they ended up in the NFC Championship game. Most people would have said the Houston Texans were not a quarterback away when they drafted C.J. Stroud. And don't think that I'm saying that Jaden Daniels or C.J. Stroud is the standard that every rookie quarterback should be held to, because I know that's rarefied. What Jaden Daniels especially did last year, that's like unheard of in a rookie season. But I hear it all the time. Well, you know, we got so many other needs. Okay, true. I don't disagree with you. The issue is, and I've said this since the start of the offseason, two things. Number one, there is nothing more important than getting the right guy at quarterback. You can go get Abdul Carter, and I'm sure he's going to be a great player. You can go get Travis Hunter, great player. But until you figure out the quarterback position, who cares? Who cares? Nothing matters if you don't have the guy at quarterback. If you waltz a team out there this season, this fall, that has, good edge rushers, good wide receivers, but, Will Levis and Brandon Allen is the quarterback room, then you may as well go to the XFL, which doesn't even exist anymore, does it? Yeah, it does. You may as well go to some other, because who cares? It means nothing. It means nothing. At the end of the day, there may be other needs, but one thing you have to do, if you are in a position like the Titans are in, and you've got a quarterback that you believe in, this is the key. If you've got a quarterback that you believe in Cam Ward, you draft him. I don't care what the other needs are. If you believe in him to be the franchise quarterback, if you believe he's the guy, you draft him. And if the Titans have decided, which it looks like they have, that Cam Ward is their guy, you draft him. You don't look at a guy and say, man, I feel like he would be our franchise quarterback, but we need edge rushers, so we need to just draft Abdul Carter. No, forget that. If you're in the position the Titans are in and you believe in the guy that's there, you draft them and figure out the other stuff somewhere else. And I keep hearing, I know A. Bishop just said it in the chat, but everybody's talking about next year's quarterback draft class. And if you've been watching this channel or this podcast for any length of time, you already know what I'm about to say. Next year's draft class. Next year's draft class. Oh, we should get a quarterback in next year's draft class. Okay, first of all, let me tell you what most people mean when they say, let's get a quarterback next year's draft class. Most of the time, they're talking about Arch Manning. And most of the time, when they're talking about Arch Manning, they are either a fan of Texas or they see that he has the last name Manning and he plays quarterback, and so they just assume the next Peyton is right there. This dude has not even played in half a season. He's not even played half a season. So we're just assuming, based on his last name and a very limited sample size from last year, we're assuming he's just going to be anointed as the one. And all of the other quarterbacks in next year's class, as of right now, I'm not excited about any of them either. But even if you were more excited about the prospect of an Arch Manning or whoever may be coming out next year, how do you even know that the Titans are going to be in a position to get one of them? We can sit here all day and say, well, you should tank it this year and then get a quarterback next year, as if that's just an easy thing to do. You don't know. These guys aren't going to go out there and try to lose all 17 games. They're not going to do that. There are teams in the NFL this past year that managed to win one more game than the Titans, and they're picking at the bottom half of the top 10. You cannot control, you cannot foresee. That's not a realistic thing that ownership is going to go into a room and say, all right, we're going to tank it this year and then get our quarterback next year. Nobody thinks like that. This is not Madden. Nobody thinks that way. You can't guarantee where you're going to be drafting next year, and you can't guarantee that the class is going to even be good. We're sitting here over a year out trying to say next year's class is going to have this guy and that guy. What if that guy comes out and sucks in college this year? What if that guy comes out and has a, God forbid, devastating injury this year? You can't think that way. Having the number one pick in the draft is not something that normally happens twice in a row. So if you're the Titans and you have the benefit of having the number one class and number one pick in the class, and you've got a quarterback sitting here, forget the rest of the class. Forget Shedeur. Forget Jalen Milroe. Forget all the others. Forget Jackson Dart. If you've got a quarterback at the top, you're number one, and you're staring a guy in the face that you believe, after all of your scouting, after all the film work, after the pro day and the combine and all that stuff, and you believe that's him right there, that's our guy, and we're in a position to get him. Nobody can take him away from us. We have the ability to just pick him right out of the gate. You pick him. I'm sure they like Abdul Carter too, but if I've got a quarterback that I really like, and I've got an edge rusher that I really like, I'm sorry, I'm taking the quarterback. I'm taking the quarterback. Does that mean that I'm saying edge rushers aren't important? Am I saying wide receivers aren't? Yo, they're absolutely important. But you got to figure it out somewhere else. If you've got a quarterback that you like and you're in position to get him, that's priority number one. Now, if the Titans were sitting there right now and they were like, man, I just don't believe in this kid. I mean, he's good, but I don't think he's the guy we need. Okay, if that's what they were saying right now, then fine. Fine. If they don't believe, and I've said this since the start, if you don't believe in him, draft Carter, draft Hunter, trade back, do any of that. If you don't believe in him, don't draft him. But if you do, draft him. And here's the thing, to exposing the truth in the chat, I'll just say this. That logic about, you have to draft well, which is kind of, I think, what you've been getting at with your comments in the chat about you got to draft well. If you don't draft well, if you don't draft good players at every position, you're not going to be good. Okay, obviously. But that logic applies to every position. Yes, you need to draft a quarterback who's good, right? You don't need to miss. You don't need to whiff. But that's the same at any position. Look at Treylon Burks. We drafted a wide receiver, and it has been a swing and a miss completely. We drafted, who else did we drafted? We drafted Jeffrey Simmons, and that was a slam dunk. Okay, great. That worked out. He's a good player. But we had a stretch there with John Robinson where our first rounders, Isaiah Wilson, disaster. One of the worst first round picks ever. Caleb Farley, disaster. God bless him, but disaster. Treylon, disaster. That's 3 drafts in a row where we missed. And need I say, John Robinson was fired. He was fired. And it wasn't just the first rounders. I mean, there's nobody left from the 2020 or the 2021 draft class on this team. So yes, exposing the truth is correct. Like you've got to hit on, you've got to hit on your picks. You've got to get guys that come in and have an impact and play well, no matter what position you draft though. If you're drafting a quarterback, especially, you've got to hope that quarterback comes in and brings this place to life. And that's kind of where I want to end it today, is with this. The Titans were the worst team in the NFL last year. Agree? Yeah, of course we all agree. They were the worst. In a year where there were a lot of terrible teams, the Titans were the worst. And now you have an off season where, you've done some stuff on the offensive line. You signed Van Jefferson. You signed Xavier Woods. You did a bunch of just low-key, signings that were cheap and, veteran players that nobody's going to just go nuts for. That's what you did this offseason. Needless to say, after the season the Titans had, Will Levis didn't work out. The Titans need a shot in the arm. Something to give this organization some life and some culture. This fan base, whichever category you fall into, if you are the fan who's totally on board with Ward, if you are the fan who's skeptical, if you're the fan who wanted to trade back, maybe you're the fan who wanted Carter, maybe you're the fan who still believes in Will Levis for some reason, maybe you're the fan who hates everything, who's just miserable. But either way, this fan base is united in the fact that we need something. When it comes to the Tennessee Titans, we need something we can grasp onto and have hope. New stadium's coming in a couple of years. We got the worst team in football. Boring, awful, hard to watch, miserable. Last season was one of the most miserable seasons I've ever sat through. You need something. And nothing does the trick like a rookie quarterback coming in and playing well. Nothing else does the trick quite like that. Look at the Patriots. The Patriots were awful last year, but they have hope. They have hope because of what they saw from Drake May. Drake May showed them enough that their fan base is excited about him. Denver, season ended bad for them, like in the playoffs, but If I'm a Broncos fan, I'm excited about Bo Nix. If I'm the Falcons, I'm excited about Michael Penix based on the limited sample size we saw of him. But you know what? The Titans desperately need something to give us some life. Enter Cam Ward. A reason to have a pulse when it comes to your fandom. Hope, a new day dawning that we desperately need. I mean, look, most of the remnants of John Robinson are no longer on this team. You got a new GM, you got a new vice president of football relations in Chad Brinker, and they are ushering in a new era. What better way to start it than by drafting the quarterback of the future? So if and when that happens next Thursday, whatever category of fan you fall into, it's time to get on board with Ward. It's time. We got to rally around. We got to rally around and get on board and hope this guy is the answer that we have long been hoping and searching for. It's a week away, 10 days. 10 days away. Next Thursday night, I believe the future is now for the Tennessee Titans. Next Thursday. I'll be live, by the way. I'll be live streaming during the draft. If you don't have any plans for draft night, come hang out with Two Tone Talk. We'll be here covering it all next Thursday. Everybody have a good day. Have a good week. This is Two Tone Talk by God Pod. Staying way too high on the wins, way too low on the losses. God bless you, everybody. Tighten up. Bye.